I was so bored the first half. Come on, 75% of possession from Chelsea with a barely shot from Cole Palmer. That was
Frank, what was the score?
That was crazy. Yeah, what?
What was the score in this game? Did Chelsea win this game?
No, they won. Okay, but because a substitution half time made the difference.
I think you're going to have a heart attack.
No, but I cannot be happy. I mean, I cannot be. We talked about Ange Postecoglou not changing anything halftime. At least the coach changed some players, and Chelsea became better second half. The first half was awful. They tried to keep the ball, did nothing with it, and I was just aiming the fact that when they conceded the goal, they should have done better. But yeah, they're going to go through because they're much better than Copenhagen, but they have to learn faster. They have to be more effective. We want to see the Chelsea that we saw before winter, where they were more vertical, that they weren't keeping the ball just, I don't know. Maybe they think that after 100 passes, they get a goal. It doesn't work like that. Football is not working like that. That was boring the first half, really.
That goal kind of is one of the problems that Chelsea have. And that on the field of play, it doesn't seem as though anybody's in control. And that's what you need in a situation like that. You've got loads of bodies there, but you need somebody to be looking around, having a look to see making sure people are where they're supposed to be. And if there's something out of the ordinary, then you sort it out. Clearly, they don't have anybody that does that anywhere on the field.
Maybe the performance sums them up. Sometimes they're sloppy. Sometimes there's some good moments too, though, Frank. We definitely saw some good moments from Chelsea today. Talk us through those. What did you like from what you saw?
What did I see? Well, I saw some substitution in the second half, and I saw the goals. And Nkunku was interesting, so that was when he came on and he did something good. And I like the fact that the coach reacted half time and said, okay, we need somebody better in the middle of the park and also offensively to change the result. I like the fact that they worked hard and got the result and scored 2 goals, and they showed that they're better than Copenhagen. At least they showed that they were better than Copenhagen, and the result says a lot.
It was a game in which Spurs did not come away with what they were hoping to, and this is what Ange Postecoglou had to say afterwards. He said it was a tricky pitch and we didn't handle it really well. Aside from that, we just weren't aggressive enough, and we were way too passive in terms of the way we pressed. Collectively, we were nowhere near the level we needed to be, and that's the thing we need to address. Not aggressive enough, Stevie. That's something, obviously, that you talk about when it comes to these games, and if you don't have that...
No, I can't disagree with one word he said. They had 1 shot at goal. I mean, let's be honest, they should be going to AZ Alkmaar and looking to win the game, when actually they've finished the game and they are thanking their lucky stars that they've only lost 1-0. Now the question is, can AZ Alkmaar go to Tottenham and show the same desire and the pressing and all the things that Tottenham didn't do, they did when it was on. But yeah, another disappointing performance from Spurs, and actually got exactly what they deserved. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Son said it was a wake-up call, and that next week's game, the return leg, is their biggest game of the season.
I'm not sure how many wake-up calls Spurs need, in all honesty, given what we've seen from them all season long. I'm with Stevie fully on this. I thought Spurs were second best, and for the second time today, I'm going to say, you see these stats and Spurs 61% possession, it did not feel like that. No. It didn't feel like that at all. And maybe it's to Postecoglou's point that they were a little bit slow in passing the ball and really forcing AZ into making mistakes. They were passive with their passing. So maybe that's where those numbers kind of stacked up. But at no point did it... If Pedro Porro had scored that header in the 95th or whatever it was, it would have almost felt like highway robbery, because Spurs had not threatened. AZ should have buried this game very early on, had the chances too, but for Vicario, who came up big when needed. And now we find ourselves, and first of all, let me say, Bergvall with the own goal, these things happen, and as young players go coming through, I think he's been absolutely outstanding for Spurs. And these are things that happen. You feel badly when it happens to you. When it's not you, you're kind of sympathetic because
Yeah,
You've seen it so
19.
many times. It happens. So, and credit to Vicario, of course, as a goalkeeper. I would notice how he goes straight out and kind of pats him on the head in encouragement. But for all the injuries that Spurs have had, and have had to endure, Postecoglou has worked with this side. He's worked with this young side. And while, yes, you're welcoming back some of the senior players, Van der Ven on the bench, didn't play a part, stuff like that, it's starting to come together. But when you've worked with a squad, or with a young squad as long as you have, you hope to see improvement. And I just feel, no, we've kind of used that young player excuse for quite some time. But even with the time that they've worked with Postecoglou, I don't feel they've improved. I don't feel they've been better. I don't feel they've heard that wake-up call.
Yeah. Did you have something to say?
Can I just before you go to Frank, am I the only one? Why is Postecoglou not coming out and berating them at half-time with the stuff he's telling us? Because clearly the second half they started exactly the same way as they did in the first half. And to me, that's down to the manager. When a team performs the way they did and they come in at half-time, you've got to get in some faces and you've got to get in people's ear and you've got to get them going. And whatever it takes, so that when they go out on the field, that they're ready, they're revved up, amped up, ready to get rid of all the nonsense from the first half and start a new page. That just didn't happen.
Bayern Munich ended a run of 6 games without a win over Bayer Leverkusen in emphatic fashion as they took a huge advantage into their last 16 tie with their title rivals Leverkusen. It was the first time a Xabi Alonso team had lost to Bayern Munich since he came in October 2022. And so we have the Bundesliga brains with us now in Derek Ray, our Bundesliga commentator here with us. Derek, what's the reaction been in the German media after that performance from Bayern Munich?
I think the reaction has been twofold. On the one hand, a lot of praise for Bayern. They absolutely got it right, and 3-0 didn't flatter them at all. On the other hand, criticism, really for the first time in a big match, certainly in recent times, for Xabi Alonso. Now, when you look at what actually happened with Leverkusen, he went to that same old well he's been going to against Bayern, using a back 4 instead of a back 3, with effectively central defenders playing in the full-back positions, going with Mate Kovac, the goalkeeper, and not Lukas Radetzky. Now, you can say, fair enough, Kovac has been the goalkeeper of choice in the Champions League, 5 games in a row, but who is the best goalkeeper? Who is your club captain? It is Lukas Radetzky. And the formation there, without Patrick Schick, a goal scorer and a player in terrific form. So again, and you were there with us, Kay, on that night recently against Bayern in Leverkusen. Again, it was this setup with, I don't know if you want to call it a false 9, but certainly not a true centre forward. And Bayern went with a high press in this game. And, we all know that when you're up against a high press, it's tempting to play it over the press. So Leverkusen were trying to do that, but surely when you're playing it over the press, you want somebody who's good in the air for little knockdowns. And you didn't have that with the players who were in the attacking positions. Amin Adli is a great runner with the ball at his feet, but couldn't get into the game. Florian Wirtz couldn't get into the game. Jeremy Frimpong had that sort of half-and-half attacking role. He couldn't get in there either. But I wouldn't want to take anything away from Bayern, because I thought they got everything absolutely spot on. We saw the value of Harry Kane in a big match, not just as a penalty taker, but also as a finisher, and set up by Michael Olise, who really is enjoying himself and has been these last few weeks. And Joshua Kimmich, for me, had far too much time in the centre of midfield to really prompt and dominate the game. So 3-0, the reaction is, and the headline in Kicker magazine this morning was Klarer Fall, which essentially means open and shut case. Not too many people think there's a way back for Leverkusen in this tie.
Yeah, and it could be the same in the league as well, right, Derek? But the interesting thing is that with Xabi Alonso, and obviously with the amazing season he had last year with Bayer Leverkusen, it really did feel like he was Bundesliga's golden boy, that everything he touched turned to gold. Is he starting to get some criticism now for some of his decisions this season?
I think you can certainly highlight 1 or 2 decisions recently. And even in that 0-0 draw that we attended in the Bundesliga, Leverkusen played them off the park, but they couldn't apply the finishing touch. And again, he was reluctant to use Patrick Schick and Victor Boniface until near the end. And so, again, with regard to this game, you saw that it didn't work without them in that match. Why would you go with that again? I don't know that we should be overly critical, because what Leverkusen have done in the last couple of years is pretty remarkable. And it still could be a good season for them if they win the DFB-Pokal, the National Knockout Cup competition, and they're probably favourites to do so. Then you can still say that is a good season. But it doesn't look good for them in the Bundesliga. I think it is probably an ask too great. And as far as the Champions League is concerned now, on a very shaky nail.